Let's just bow our heads. Gracious Father in heaven, we give you thanks and praise for your love. We come to honour you and worship you today, Father, because you are the great God of all things. And we pray as we study your word today, your Spirit will guide us and lead us into all truth, and that we can learn something practical today that will hold us in good stead for the days that are coming upon us. Bless us now, we pray, in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so we're continuing our study of the book of Revelation, and if you've missed previous ones, you can go on to the YouTube channel, Hills of Byron Home Church, and they're all there on that channel. So, first question that we're looking at today is, why are we studying Bible prophecy? What's the reason why we're studying Bible prophecy? So keep your finger in Revelation 13, but go across to John 13, and we've shared this verse many times in the past. Jesus said, John 13 verse 19, Jesus said, "Now I tell you before it comes, that when it is come to pass, you may" what? Believe that I am he. So Jesus says, I'm telling you before it happens, so that when it does happen, what will happen? You'll believe. So the first thing Jesus wants us to do is to believe that what he tells us is true and reliable. That's the first thing that he wants us to understand through prophecy. That what he says, when it happens, that he's reliable and that he's telling the truth. And that's really important, because in today's world, we don't know what's truth anymore, do we? You can't tell on social media whether it's real or fake or AI or telling the truth or making it up. We've got no idea. But Jesus wants us to be sure and to have confidence that what he tells us is true and reliable. Now skip over to 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. And this is the Apostle Paul writing. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verses 1 to 4. And he says, "But of the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write to you." You don't need me to tell you what's going on, he says. "For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so comes as a thief in the night." The term the day of the Lord is the same term that John uses in the very beginning of Revelation chapter 1. Where he says he was in the Spirit when? On the Lord's Day, or the day of the Lord. So obviously what Paul's talking about is that same period of time at the end of world history. Verse 3 in Thessalonians says, "For when they shall say" what? "Peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." But in verse 4 he says, "But you, brethren, are not in darkness, that that day should overtake you as a thief." So here's the second reason why we study the prophecy, is because Jesus is saying, I want you to be aware and informed of what's going on, so you can prepare and be ready for what's coming. So Jesus tells us beforehand so that we can trust him and depend on what he says. And he says also, because I want you to know what's coming. You're not in the darkness. Others are, but you're in the light. I'm revealing these things to you. And that's why we study Bible prophecies. Now there's two ways we can look at things, aren't there? We can look at it from a worldly perspective, an earthly perspective, or from a heavenly perspective. And I encourage everyone to always take the heavenly perspective to get the big picture. When we look at things from down here, we look around us, and this was what that tow truck driver shared with me the other night. He said, "Mate, everything's just so confusing and disorientating, and I don't know how to deal with it." He said, "I thought I might start protesting in political rallies and stuff, but I realised that's not going to do any good. Nothing happens with that." So a lot of people can see the problem, can't they? And some people are just intuitively feeling that everything's not quite right, but they don't have the solution.
They don't have a rock to lean against.
Yeah, that's right. They don't have the solution. And so from an earthly perspective, everything seems to be turmoil and confusion and chaos and nonsensical. But from the heavenly perspective, everything, when we look at it from a biblical perspective, everything is just converging together as anticipated, isn't it? We're waiting for these things to happen. It's not coming as a shock to us, is it?
No.
And are we fearful about what's coming up?
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. There's a reason to be somewhat fearful, but we're not fearful and feeling lost and insecure and that sort of thing. So it's comforting for me to know that down here everything seems chaotic, but up there God is in control. He's at peace, so I'm at peace. He knows what he's doing, and I trust him. So he lets us know what's going on. So I guess my question then would be, what about you? This is the question I ask myself. Well, what about you, Dave? Do you feel like a victim, as if you're being pushed around by everything that's going on in the world?
No.
Or do you feel like a victor? Doesn't matter what happens in the world, God wins. And we just have to endure to the end. So it's revival as opposed to retreat, and it's victory as opposed to defeat. So here's a rider on what we're going to talk about today. As we go through this interpretation of these Bible passages, these prophecies, I don't want you to get lost or drawn into just the understanding of the symbols. That's a really easy thing to have happen. We're talking about all these beasts and these things that are going on, and we can get drawn into just focusing on those symbols and forget the reason why God has given us these symbols to look at. Because there's something that he wants us to learn that we can then apply to our lives. Okay? So it's more important that we function on the level of what am I getting out of this and what does God want me to do with this? Okay? That's the practical side. So, don't have to turn there, but James 1:27 says, "Pure religion and undefiled before God, our Father, is this, to keep yourself unspotted from the world." So the reason why God is telling us these things is because A, he doesn't want us to do what the unfaithful servant or the 5 foolish virgins did. They knew the time, they knew the season, they knew what was going on, but one said, "Oh, the Lord delays his coming," and he just went out and started living a reprobate life. Or the 5 foolish virgins didn't take enough oil. They weren't prepared for what was coming, and so they missed out. And so that's one side of it. Or the other side of it is where God says, okay, here is what the purpose is. See what's going on, understand what's going on so that you don't get sucked back into the world. Stay in that heavenly realm. So just keep all that in mind as we go through this prophecy. Right, Revelation chapter 13. And we're just going to read straight through verses 1 to 9 and then go back and go verse by verse. So chapter 13 verse 1. "And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his heads 10 crowns, and upon his heads..." Sorry?
Upon his horns.
Oh, sorry. "Upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority." And I saw one of the heads as it was wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast, and who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man has an ear, let him hear. Okay. I don't know how many times I've read through this passage, but one thing that strikes me very pronounced are three things that stand out. Number one is the extent of this beast's authority. How widespread is it? Is it localised?
Worldwide.
Yeah. What does it say? What does it say in verse 3? It says, all the world. All the world wondered after the beast. And down in verse 7, it says, given him over all kindreds, tongues and nations. So that's emphasising every kind of nation, tongue and people. And then verse 8 tops it off by saying, all that dwell upon the earth. Now if it says all, that's everybody, isn't it?
Whose names are not written in the book of life.
Okay, that's
That's
the condition, isn't it? Which implies if your name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life, you're not going to be under the authority of this beast. Does that make sense?
Mm.
So we've looked before about the two books, the Book of Works or the Lamb's Book of Life. If your name is still in the Lamb's Book of Life, then you won't come under this condemnation, you won't come under its control, and you'll be kept through that time. Okay, so that's the first thing, the extent of its authority. The second thing, did you notice any words that seem to be repeated a few times as we went through there? Two words that really stuck out to me. One was the word worship. Worship. Verse 4, they worshipped the dragon and they worshipped the beast. Now, if this was just a political system, do people worship political systems?
In some ways, by obedience and fear, in that sense.
Yeah. But we tend to reserve the word worship to have something to do with supernatural, something to do with God, don't we? We worship. So it implies giving deference to something of a higher power than ourselves. And so worship. So this is not just a political system, it has something to do with worship. And notice that it says the two entities that are being worshipped, the first one was who?
The dragon.
The dragon. And we know from chapter 12 that the dragon is Satan, the devil and Satan, the accuser of the brethren. So what it's saying is by worshipping this beast, whatever it is, we haven't yet determined what it is, but by worshipping this beast, by default, we're worshipping the power behind the beast that has given that beast its seat, its authority, and its dominion, right? So it's not like you can just say, well, I'm going to worship this beast, but I'm not worshipping the power behind it.
Yeah, they seem to be worshipping the power above the beast because they're worshipping the one who gave the power to the beast.
Exactly.
It's the same with Christ, isn't it? When we worship Christ, we worship in the power behind Christ, which is God.
That's right,
Mm.
which is his Father.
Yeah.
So it's the same principle, but in the opposite way.
And things that we've been looking at recently is that people have in their homes, little Buddhas or dream catchers or different little icons and things lying around the house that they don't think anything about, but don't realise that in the spirit realm, they're invitations that you've put there to invite the power behind those things into your home.
That's right.
So this is why, people say, I've got a statue of Buddha or something. Okay, well, I don't worship it.
Don't worship it.
Yeah, no, but that doesn't matter.
It's a portal.
Yeah, it's a door through which the spirit realm, you're giving them an invitation to come in. So they're worshipping this power that's behind and that beast. And the third thing that I've found, which is repeated often, is the word blasphemy. Right? Blaspheming here, blaspheming there, mouth speaking great blasphemies, blaspheming God, blaspheming those in heaven, blaspheming the tabernacle in heaven, blaspheming, blaspheming, blaspheming. What does blasphemy mean? What's the meaning for that?
It's interesting in Kings 19:3, and it said, and they said unto him, thus saith Hezekiah, this day is a day of trouble and of rebuke and blasphemy, for the children are come to the birth, and there is not strength to bring forth.
Right.
That's interesting. That's an instant where blasphemy is used in the Old Testament.
In the Old Testament, well, it's the 1 Kings
19:3.
19:3.
Yeah.
And what did the church leaders in Jesus' day accuse him of when he said that he was the Son of God?
Blasphemy.
Blasphemy. And Jesus said, well, for what good work do you take up stones to stone me? And they said, well, not for any good work you've done, but the fact that you're a man and you claim to be the Son of God. Is Jesus the Son of God?
Yes.
God said so. This is my Son in whom I'm well pleased. So God's not shy about who his Son is. Jesus said to his disciples, well, who do men say that I am? Oh, you're Elijah or Moses or that prophet. Well, who do you say that I am? And what was Peter's response?
You are the Christ, the Son of the living God.
You are the Christ, the Messiah, the Son of the living God.
And he said, no one has told you this. It's the Spirit of God that told you this.
That's right.
Say them words.
Got this from my Father. So blasphemy, here's a definition, is an insult that shows contempt, disrespect or lack of reverence concerning God, or a sacred object, or something that is considered inviolable, can't be changed. God said, I am the same yesterday, today, forever. That's inviolable, can't be changed. And so those three things really stick out. Okay, let's go back then and quickly go through each verse. And we, as I said, if you go under the home church page, Byron Bay Home Church, Hills of Byron Home Church on YouTube, all of these things have already been covered in the past, and you can look those up for more information. But let's quickly go through. So here's this beast, this dragon beast, standing on the sand of the sea. What does the sea represent?
Nation.
Multiple peoples. That's what it tells us in chapter 17. And he sees this beast rise up. A beast represents what?
A system, power.
Yeah, a political
Authority.
system or power. So in Daniel 7 we saw the eagle represented Babylon, the bear represented Medo-Persia, the leopard represented Greece, and the terrible beast represented Rome.
I think it was the lion, was it? Not Babylon, was
Yeah, what did I
Lion
say?
there,
it?
yeah.
The eagle just said that.
Oh, a lion with eagle's wings, that's right.
Yeah.
So it's representative, and so when we draw a timeline, and here's 600 BC when Daniel was around, And he has this vision of successive beasts that go right through to today. Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, Rome, and then through to the end.
And then Rome intermingled with 10 toes.
Yeah, and all that comes through to the end,
Yeah.
right? So this is Daniel 7, you can just have a read through that yourself. Tie it in with Daniel chapter 2, Nebuchadnezzar's dream, same story. Okay, and so when we get up here, so here's Rome, so here's the cross with Jesus here. When Jesus has the victory over the dragon, doesn't he? Michael and his angels fought. The dragon and his angels fought. What happened to the dragon? He was cast out. And the rejoicing in heaven was, now salvation is come. So this is when Jesus defeated Satan on the cross. And 3 days later he rose from the dead and he said to Mary, do not hinder me, for I have not yet ascended to my Father. Comes back that afternoon and says to his guys, all power in heaven and earth has now been given to me. So that position that Satan had usurped from Adam as the prince of this world, Jesus had now recovered. He's now got the keys to hell and death. So now that's when Satan was cast down from heaven. And what did Jesus say? I saw Satan fall like lightning to the earth. He was cast out. And it says that he now knows that he's got a limited period of time in which to do whatever he needs to do. So now, who's in heaven representing the earth? Who's representing you and you?
Jesus.
Jesus. We have one mediator, one who stands between us and God, the man Christ Jesus. He's the second Adam. He's the new head. So behind that little plaque that says earth, Satan used to be there, but now Jesus is there. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
That's the victory. And that's why we can trust him. That's why we can put our faith in him, because he's the one who's had the victory way back here. That's the gospel. This is the good news. And so from there to today, Satan is going around as a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour.
So I've got to go and I'll take as many as I can with me.
That's right. Take them with me.
That's Satan.
So whereas Daniel saw these kingdoms in succession, John, who's having his vision up here around 90 AD, he's transported forward to the day of the Lord to today. And he's seeing what these dragons are doing, what these beasts are doing and all that, and he's saying, right, here's this beast down here that's coming up, and what's it got? It's got 7 heads, 10 horns, and what's on the heads? Names of blasphemy. And what's on the horns? Crowns. And upon his horns 10 crowns.
Yeah.
And upon his head the name of blasphemy. Now just quickly flick back to chapter 12. And go down to verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, there he is, having what? 7 heads and 10 horns, and what? 7 crowns upon what? His head. So back here, there are 7 heads and 10 horns. And the heads had the crowns. Why are the crowns on the heads here but not on the heads here? Why have the crowns moved from the heads here to the horns over here? Ever asked yourself that question?
Power. Transfer.
Yeah, there's a
sort of
transfer
power.
of power, but why? Here we had a lion with one head, here we had a bear with one head, here we had a leopard with four heads, and here we had a terrible beast. Oh, wrong spot. And it had one head. So there's your 7 heads.
Yep.
Why at this point were the crowns on the heads? Because the heads were still functioning.
Oh, right.
It was the heads that were in power. It was it was Rome that was still in power. So the crown was on the head of Rome because it was still functioning. Why have the crowns, now the heads, instead of having crowns, are called blasphemy? Right? They're rebelling against God, aren't they? Remember I said that Nebuchadnezzar, the king, was shown a metal man. From man's perspective, that's what they understood. But from God's perspective, when he looks down, he doesn't see human images for political powers. He sees them as beasts. No more than beasts. And so the heads here have names of blasphemy because these kingdoms have come through to their end, so that's finished. Now the focus has moved from the heads to the horns. So we find that up in this area at the end of time, it's the horns that are going to be more significant than the heads themselves.
So is that the political powers, or is it?
Well, that's what we're going to see, eh?
Yes, and could it be connected with AI that's taking over, that's
Maybe.
taking away from the thinking, it's just
All of these things. But remember what we said initially? The Bible interprets itself. The Bible will give us the answer as to what these things are. Alright, so this beast comes up, and there it is. The beast, which I saw in verse 2, says, it will look like a leopard, and his feet was the feet of a bear, so it's got a body of a leopard, feet of a bear, and the mouth of a lion. So these were all individual, weren't they?
Yep.
Lion, bear, leopard, terrible beast. Now he sees one beast come up, which is a combination of all three. In fact, all four, if we go into it deeper. This is a composite beast, made up of different parts. So the influence of the lion back here is as a mouth speaking here. Right? The influence of the bear back here is now the feet of this beast. So this beast is walking on Medo-Persian influence.
I wonder if there's another meaning that just kind of popped into my thoughts with the composite, whether it's also referring to all of this genetic modification.
Could be something in that. We can explore that later. And the body's like a leopard, so the influence of Greece. So has Greek thought played a lot of influence
Absolutely.
in the Western world?
Definitely.
Huge.
Absolutely. What about Rome? Did that have influence?
Yeah.
Where do our laws come from?
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff. So we can see the influence of these kingdoms through astronomy. Who were the big astronomers? Who were the Magi who came looking for the Messiah?
Yeah, from the Medes.
As a response to Daniel chapter 9, where the time was given when he would come. And Paul says in Galatians 4:4, when the fullness of time had come, God sent forth his Son. He came on time, in time. How amazing is that? And God gave the specific time when he would give his life to the very hour. 3 o'clock, Passover, 31 AD. So all of these influences have played a part on the kingdoms that we are in today, and this is how the Bible. So you imagine, we're 600 BC, that's 2,500 years ago, that God gave this prophecy to say this is what's coming. Now we have the incredible privilege of standing up this end of it, looking back, and we can see how it's all been fulfilled to the letter.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's more prophecy than this. And we're just ticking everything off, saying yes, yes, yes. And so what should our expectation be? Well, if all of that is past, if all that's happened, then surely what God is saying is going to happen here is going to be a big tick.
The last 10% will be just as accurate.
Yes, exactly. So God doesn't say, oh, this is what I see for you down here, Daniel, but when we get up here it might all change. He's not saying that at all. I'm giving you the beginning to the end so that when you see it come to pass, you will do what?
You'll
Believe.
believe.
So he says, and his mouth is the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power, his seat, and great authority. The seat is his position, and great authority, the Greek word is exousia, it means the authority over people. Verse 3, and I saw one of his heads as if it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. Okay. Deadly wound. What does a deadly wound by definition mean?
Death.
You die from it. It's fatal. It's a fatal wound. It's a deadly wound.
Make a man.
So something died. Something died. One of the heads died, but came back. Came back to life. And when that happened, all the world wondered after the beast. Now there's been a couple or several different interpretations of what that deadly wound could have been. Back in the time of the Protestant Reformation, the Protestants believed that that deadly wound happened when the Pope of Rome was taken captive and the papal states were confiscated and the Pope was put in prison. That was the deadly wound. He lost control. Prior to that, he ruled over all of the different kings. They all came to him to get the blessing.
Who did that when?
Who did that?
Because I'm more up Catholic, you never knew that.
Oh, okay. So we're talking back in the 1500s when Martin Luther put his 95 Theses on the door of the church in Wittenberg with all of the things that were a problem that the Catholic Church taught, which weren't in the Bible, basically. And so they protested against it. And
That's why they're called Protestants.
instead of the church, the Catholic Church saying, whoops, made some mistakes here, and keeping it like one church, they said, no, if you don't do what we tell you, we're going to persecute you and put you to death. And that's what happened. That was the...
I know that side of the story, but
Right.
not Pope being.
Oh, okay. So Napoleon,
Napoleon.
when the French Revolution, normally when a new king was to be crowned, there would be a delegate from Rome there who would place the crown.
Sorry.
That's all right. He would place the crown on the head of the new king, signifying that that king ruled by divine right. Yeah, have you heard of the divine right of kings?
Yeah.
So he rules by divine right, the tick of approval from the church, basically. Remember when I showed you that picture of the 3-level crown of the Pope? that he was the like the father of kings and the ruler of the world, vicar of Christ. Yeah, all these.
So what did
So Napoleon, when he came to Rome, his general, a guy by the name of Berthier, took the Pope Catholic and put him in prison and confiscated the papal states, which were the lands that were owned by the Catholic Church. So for the next 100 years or so, 1798 through till 1929, wasn't until 1929 that the Pope was given Vatican City back by Mussolini. Mussolini signed what they call a concordat, where he gave him his Vatican City. He can have that back. So
it's a new one, isn't it?
yeah, well, it's worth reading about it. So some people say, well, that was the deadly wound. The Pope lost his position. That was a Freudian slip. He lost his position of authority over all of the world kingdoms and so on. But that was restored because when Mussolini gave him back Vatican City, he was able to reinstate all of his diplomatic relationships in two ways. No longer was he just the head of the Roman Catholic Church, but now he's head of Vatican City, which is a political state. So he has two positions.
Same country.
So he's head of the Vatican, and that's why the Vatican can send out delegates all over the world, and they send ambassadors to Vatican. We recently had one, what was his name? Tim Costello, was it? Who went to... went to as the Australia's ambassador to the Vatican. So that was the deadly wound. Others see it as Rome, that's papal Rome, as pagan Rome that got the deadly wound, because it reigned in its own supreme right during that period of time, from BC through to about 400 AD. But then, remember, in Daniel the legs were two legs, both iron. That was Western Rome and Eastern Rome, two pagan things. And that then the feet became iron with clay. The iron represented the strength, and Daniel was told the feet will be partly strong and partly weak. And they'll try to merge back in together, but they won't be able to do it because they won't stick together. Right?
They're trying hard to do that now.
They're doing well at the moment. So it may be pagan or papal, or it could be pagan that was taken over by papal because the Bishop of Rome was given authority over the west of there, and Constantine kept his control over the east. Okay. So there's this deadly wound, but notice what it says. It had this deadly wound, verse 3, and the wound was healed. And when that wound was healed, the whole world wonders after the beast. Wow, it's back. Now I know when I first became a Christian back in the mid-70s, this was all new to me. I had no clue what this was all about. But when my mum was a child, and just for interest, if she had lived, she would have been 100 yesterday, my mum. So back in 1926, she was Church of England, and when she'd walk home from school, all the Catholic kids would be on one side of the street and all the Protestant kids would be on the opposite side, and they'd all be slinging across at each other.
We used to do that at the school bus.
Yeah, there you go.
Go past the Catholic church, if you go to the Catholic school, a flat roof.
That's it. And the whole Irish thing is between the orange and the green, the Catholics and the Protestants. Right? To this day, there's still animosity. So this is very real.
Yeah.
we've sort of been brought into a culture that's a bit more tolerant and a little bit more politically correct in the sense of you can't slag. In fact, now we have hate laws
Oh, yeah.
where you can't even say that the Pope is the Antichrist. I didn't say that, I'm just quoting someone else.
Yeah, that's right.
But even back in the day where you have the Catholics and the like the Protestants, there's a lot of people that would get put in one category or the other that were not really religiously affiliated. They just hated each other.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
yeah, that's right. It's always been that way.
Yeah.
You don't have to be spiritual to carry a label.
No.
Okay, so I'm sure we'll look at that a little bit more closely down the track. So verse 4 says, they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast, in verse 4, and they worshipped the beast, saying, who is like the beast, who is able to make war with him? So the common consensus is that when this head is healed, the power is going to be such that it's going to be unassailable.
What's that word mean?
No one's going to be able to stand up against it. And that's what my tow truck mate was saying the other day. Who can stand up against it?
Mm.
And verse 5 says, and there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. So when this head is finally healed, it's going to reign for 1,260 days or 42 months or 3.5 years.
It's nearly the length of the presidency, isn't it?
Almost. 3.5 years. You can remember back when COVID was officially unpandemic.
That was 6 years ago. And it doesn't seem like that long ago.
23 is when it was. It started in 20.
20.
Started in 20, yeah.
3 years later, it's
Yeah.
It's finished.
it's finished.
For the 3.5 years?
So here it is. It was, I think it was May, officially, or March 2023. It was officially finished. Somehow COVID didn't realise that it was no longer terrible, even though it was never stopped. They just officially said, well, it's not a problem anymore.
Yeah.
So March 23, March 24, March 25, that was 2 years ago. Once this head,
That's 3 years.
That's 3 years.
Sorry.
3 years, is it?
Yeah, March
Yeah.
26
24,
this
25,
year.
26.
Once this head gets its life back in full, in total, 3.5 years. Is that long?
No, not at all.
Not the scheme of things.
So you're saying that 3.5 years is coming up.
Literal, coming up.
So that means everything's going to implode at that point.
A lot of stuff's going to happen.
Quite
Definitely.
quickly.
Very quickly. That's another study that we'll do sometime in the future. And so when this head that has its wound healed is back on deck, this is what it does. He opens his mouth, verse 6, in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, his tabernacle, his dwelling place. Where does God dwell?
In heaven.
In the heavens. And them that dwell in heaven. Who dwells in heaven?
The angels. and
The
Son.
angels. And a few others. And when that happens, so what's he doing? If he's blaspheming, he's taking to himself the glory that is due to God.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. So when this happens, this political system is going to be worshipped as God. That's what the Bible's saying. I mean, if Albo walked in here today, would we fall to the ground and worship him?
No, easy, sir.
We don't do that to politicians. eh? We don't do that to politicians. But whatever this system is, it's going to demand worship and it's going to accept worship of the people.
Yeah, what if they fake a alien invasion? Like
Well, it
fake
could be any of these things.
Could be all of the above.
Yeah,
Blended.
but this is what it is. So, my understanding is that this composite beast here is the EU.
Yep. I think so too.
Yeah, definitely.
All right?
Combination of all of them.
It's a combination of all of those kingdoms. The EU covers basically all of the old pagan Roman territories. Let me just find the bits I've got here. It's got its own parliament, and the dominant religion of the EU is Roman Catholicism. So it's a combination of the pagan and the papal in the one entity. Now, one of the names we looked at the other week for the Antichrist was the Vicar of God, the Vicar of the Son of God, the one who stands in the place of God. That's one of the titles of the Pope. So again, not Catholic bashing, not just aiming at one, we're just going, what is the Bible revealing to us and who fits that bill?
Well, it's the system, not the people.
Yeah, that's right, it's the system, not the people. Okay, so that's where my head's at as to who this beast is. What does that mean for us today? What's relevant? Okay, it's one thing to know and say, okay, well that's what it could be, great. But how's that going to impact us today? Anyone want to know the answer to that one?
I like crazy.
Pray like crazy. There you go.
Never go wrong there.
So what's the significance today? Well, we can all remember what COVID was like and the impact that had. And we can remember what it was like, just a few years ago when that was finished. But most people don't remember that immediately after COVID was deregistered, if you like, a whole new movement took place where worldwide there was introduced a move to bring about digital identification. And they used COVID as an excuse as to why everyone should be digitally marked so you can keep track of everyone and we don't miss people in the confusion. It's always presented as a good thing, isn't it? For the benefit of society, for the greater good.
For your own safety.
For your own safety, yeah, and safety of others. And so they set about instigating this digital ID system. It only took 12 months for Australia in May of 2024 to legislate the digital ID system. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, it's a blue law already, isn't it?
This was new laws
Yeah.
that were passed in Australia in 2024. And just 2 years after that, there's over 80 countries around the world that have instigated or legislated digital ID. 80 countries already. So what's the law aiming to do? To reduce identity fraud. Is that being pushed as a big problem?
Yeah.
It is a big problem.
Guard your password. Get your money ripped out of your accounts. Identity fraud. To enhance online security and simplify access to services.
also to stop drug trafficking and all sorts of things.
Oh, there's all things they throw into it. But I think not probably my generation, but certainly younger generations and the younger generations today don't even carry a wallet anymore. They don't have a bank card, a Visa or MasterCard. They don't carry cash. They carry this thing.
Takes them everywhere they go.
They do everything with this. So you go to a restaurant and you pay for it by this. You want to book something online, you put it to the screen and you book it online. You do everything with this. What happens if this goes down?
Exactly.
Big problem.
Big problems. Ever been in a supermarket when the power went out?
Oh yeah.
What happens to the queues?
They lock the doors.
Yeah, they lock the doors because the tills don't work. And sadly the people behind the till can't add up or subtract and deal with cash. So they just have to stand there. What happens if the internet goes down? Where are we all going to be if the internet goes down?
It's predicted to
I
go
worked
down.
in a shop where we needed the internet. And when the internet went down, you had to shut the doors. You couldn't do anything. What about all the businesses that do their stock takes through the internet?
Mm.
Everything's held on the cloud. All of their tax information, everything is all on the cloud. When that goes down, it's chaos. And you know that tow truck driver said to me the other night? He said, nothing is secure. He said, if you think you've got some food you can eat, it's not secure. Someone will come and take it. I said, mate, you're switched on to what's going to happen. Because they did a survey where they found that within 3 days, people would be climbing fences and shooting people just to get food for their kids.
Dog eat dog.
Yeah. So we're all very civilised when we've got stuff. But take the stuff away and people will turn into animals, beasts, just like God said they would.
We even saw that when there's no toilet paper. We saw people
Yeah.
fighting in the supermarket, beating each other up just to get a roll of toilet paper.
Jerusalem in the siege, they were eating their own children.
They were. And
You know,
the,
hard to believe. They were God's people.
so they might be shooting you for food. You might be the food. They might be shooting you as the food.
So what's that got to do with the EU? Well, the EU has a thing called E. I'm not good with these sort of things. IDAS 2.0. That's the legislation they brought in back in 2024. And this legislation mandates that all 27 member countries of the EU provide digital ID wallets by Does that ring a bell?
Yeah.
What is yours this year?
This year. Mandatory
Yeah.
digital ID wallets throughout 27 countries of the EU that each of those countries has to abide by. So what are they saying? They're saying, well, this is going to be so wonderful because you might be in an EU country like Sweden and you might travel to Spain or across to Crete or somewhere else and you can use the same wallet to do everything that you want to do, whether it's Medicard, tax, banking, ID,
Pay for something, different currencies, doesn't matter.
yeah,
Instant.
it doesn't matter.
Conversions instant.
Right? The EU is leading the way in this system. So that when it says all the world will wonder after this beast, they're wondering in awe. How does this work?
Won't be long before the other countries follow suit. Yeah?
So everything is a test, everything's a proving ground as to how this information works. So here in Australia, we're like the guinea pig country. You know, we're enclosed on an island. We're a small population, mainly on the east coast, and we're easily controlled. So expect to get these digital wallets. And I'll finish with the EU, and then I'll share with you what's happened in Australia. So it started in 2024, the pilot program for these wallets called the EUDI, European Union Digital Identity Wallet. So this is an app that you have on your phone. It's been piloted since 2025 and it moves through till 2026. In June of this year, 3 months away, it goes into voluntary, implementation, takes effect. June this year.
Here in Australia.
No, this is in the EU.
Oh, yeah.
They're leading the way.
EU.
By December of 2027, so a year and 9 months away, it goes mandatory.
Right.
They always start,
Yes, with bombing.
right, they legislate, they test it with a pilot program, start small, then they bring in voluntary, then they bring in mandatory.
After the crisis.
And then the voluntary ends up being probably more than 50% to 70, 80%. So the mandatory part, they're least for the people.
It starts out by them saying, well, you can join or you don't have to join,
Yeah.
it's totally
Yeah,
up to you.
Yeah.
But then they
Word of
bring
mouth.
it in such a way that if you don't come on mandatory, you can't use your
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
It's so easy, and word of mouth, everyone will start coming in on it until it's only 10% or 15% in the end. That they're all fighting against all the others.
Yeah. Well, look how it goes. It starts off as a good idea. Convenient, functional, all the rest of it. Becomes voluntary. You can do it if you're okay with it. Right? But then there's a change. Then it goes mandatory. This is must. Do you have a choice when it
No.
gets to must? You must do it. And if
that's
you don't do it, what do you get?
Consequences.
Yeah.
Penalties.
Yeah.
No penalties back here. No penalties talked about here at all. But now,
When does it become significant to us to the point where we say no?
When the majority are on it, as volunteers.
yeah, I'd be saying definitely before here.
Yeah.
Because what does it say in Revelation 13? That no man may buy
So,
or sell. So what are they doing? They're setting up a system, a digital ID system, so they know who everyone is, where you're at, and how we can control you.
yeah.
Because the next thing they're going to bring in is what?
Oh, no, definitely consensus will be somewhere along the line. Digital dollar. And
If you're not going to be able to buy and sell,
And how easy would that be? Because most of us now don't even use cash, so it'll only be the minority that you've got to, penalise.
they want to bring in digital dollars. But before they can do that, they've got to know where everyone is
Yeah.
and who everyone is, and have you to the point of being able to be controlled so that when they bring in the digital dollar, you'll comply. So what if they did away with cash back here? In the voluntary stage.
To be the market piece or connected with that, buy and sell in that last time, there has to be some denial of your faith or Christ in order to be.
Well, this is what it's coming down to, isn't it? This is what we're saying, is that all of this stuff has to do with worship. What system are you going to bow down to? The one that controls this and this, or the one up here who's saying, don't do it? Didn't we see that during the COVID? We had a choice. Didn't they say vaccines are not mandated? They're voluntary. Did people take it that way? If you said, no, I'm not taking the vax, were you classified into a pigeonhole and looked down upon? And did people get punched in the face for not having a mask on? In Woolies? In Mullumbimby?
In Lismore.
In
They got
Lismore?
arrested by police.
Right? It's voluntary, but it's treated as no. You'll toe the line or pay the price. And this is what's coming with this system. It's in June of 2026, 3 months away, we enter this voluntary. Is that far? That's how close we are. That's how close we are to this beast. Because the papacy used to control people and finances. Yeah? Anyone ever heard of the Vatican Bank? So this is what this system is all about. It's bringing back control. So when that system has full control, as it used to have in days gone by, that deadly wound is healed. And that deadly wound, once that deadly wound is healed, it's going to reign for 1260 literal days until the end comes when Jesus returns.
That'll be a long fast.
That's about 2030.
You got
Be
it?
around there, yep.
Now,
That's
The-
2,000 years from when he was.
the date in Europe for the implementation of the digital currency is early 2028. They're already in, they've already passed the legislation according to Christine Lagarde, the one who was the head of the Central Bank of Europe up until recently. That was already underway. By the end of 2025 that was going to be in place. Then they are starting this test pilot stage for the digital. So the digital currency is going along with the digital ID. Once the digital ID is mandatory, which is December 27, then they'll bring in the digital currency right behind it. That's how far we've got. Never before in human history has there been a facility through which man can be fully controlled. All the world.
That's been a desire of every dictator and king.
Yeah.
I mean,
But never had the technology to be able to do it. Now we do. And the exponential growth of AI means the time frame is getting shorter and shorter and shorter because AI is just proliferating to such huge amounts. If you're not using AI in your business now, you're just killing yourself. You're still falling so far behind. All of the trading that's going on the stock exchange now, it's all AI.
Yeah, bot trade.
Yeah,
it's a called blockchain.
yeah. So that's where we're at. This is the beast who rises up out of the sea. That's why it's relevant to us today.
So what's the plan? What's our plan?
Well, Jesus said, I'm telling you before it happens, so that when it does happen, you'll do what? Believe.
Believe.
So the first part of the plan is to
Trust God.
trust
Believe.
God, to look in your relationship with God. Are you going to trust that God is in control or this other beast is in control?
It's
If you
And-
still want to do business and go places, what do?
Well, for this period of time, mate, you probably won't be going anywhere and you probably won't be doing business.
Yeah.
How did God provide for those who didn't take the mark of the beast back in Elijah's day?
He fed them.
Ravens.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said to Elijah, go down to the brook, nominated the place, and said, wait there until I tell you to move on. And Elijah said, well, that's all right, I'll have water, but what about food? And what did God do?
Said the ravens.
He sent the ravens, an unclean bird, with food in its mouth, to Elijah to feed him every day.
Bread, yeah.
It wasn't a Macca's big burger or anything like that. It was just
all-
enough.
Also, the Israelites in the desert, had manna every day for
40 years.
Not only that, their shoes never worn out, their
Yeah,
clothes never worn out.
I think the reality is that for most of the population, people don't want to know that this is a reality that's just in the near future.
Yeah.
Because we have this thing that life just keeps going on. But it's not. It's not going to keep going on how we've known it. It's coming very rapidly to a whole new world.
And if you go on God's side, you won't be able to deal in that world. That's the,
No.
that's the,
That's what that was what I was asking.
yeah,
Yeah.
you won't be able to, that's the thing. But that's where you're leaning on the rock, you're leaning on Christ then, full on.
Yeah.
Yeah, full on,
Yeah.
you know,
It's truly that God tells
No
us.
compromise.
no compromise, he'll
Yeah.
take care of you.
Yeah.
So we've got Elijah being fed supernaturally. We've got the Israelites in the desert being fed supernaturally, 40 years of manna, which God provided every day.
Provided their warmth, their shelter.
Yeah, all of that, water out of a rock.
Yeah.
All the impossible. Why does God give us that information about Elijah and
To encourage us.
Moses and
Or for those at the end of time.
yeah, and Jesus could take a couple of loaves of bread and a few fish and manifest it into feeding 5,000 men, let alone women and children.
Now, what does he say? Great things I've done, but even greater things you'll do in his name.
So what's to say that in these times, where you can't just go to the shop and get something, that your prayer will be the means through which God will respond.
Plus we'll have a work to do. Won't be relying on his food, we'll have a work to do to others.
Yeah.
That's when the
Very
three
special
angel
work.
messages have to go out full bore.
And do we appreciate the power and authority of Jesus' name in prayer?
Yes.
Should we be taking this opportunity when it's still relatively calm to be exercising
Yeah.
our faith in that name and calling on his name? So he says, if you're faithful in little things, I'll make you faithful in big things. If you can get through this time and trust and not whinge and moan and carry on, but you can trust and you can exercise faith, then when this other time comes, you'll already be in the habit of asking me for everything.
Yep.
So that's the other thing we can do. Practice now for what's coming. Before the grand final in the football, what do the teams do the week before? Sit around, drink beer, eat meat pies? No, they're training. They're preparing. They're getting themselves ready. Well, the grand final's nearly here. The grand finale.
And see, this is where Satan wants people to be in that sense of lull.
Yeah.
Nothing's nothing.
Well, what
to worry
did
about.
what did Thessalonians say? When they cry
Peace and
Peace and
safety.
peace and safety, what happens?
Sudden destruction.
Sudden destruction.
Well, they're crying that now, really. They're saying, well, this is going to bring peace in the world. And
Yeah,
you listen to Elon Musk, everything's going to be so prosperous and amazing
yeah.
with all the AI and the robots.
And we'll pay everyone with a universal basic income, and
Yeah,
you can
everyone
just
will
do
be
what you want to do,
Everyone
and
will be prosperous.
it'll be
He says in
wonderful.
10 years, the GDP will be 10 times greater than it is now.
Mm.
That's pretty big.
pretty big.
So everyone will be thinking, oh, you know, it is good. Yeah.
I want to just close by showing you a picture which is the motif for this legislation. See if you
What's a
can,
motif, no?
just like an image logo. So
Yeah.
River, isn't it?
Heck, look at that.
this is how they're advertising.
Oh.
You can just go online and punch it in.
Is that an SDS?
That's the
Or
numbers.
what?
That's
Zeros and ones.
Disclosure date in movie, that's virtually
ID.
the exact same.
Yeah, probably is.
EID
2.0.
So you're on up.
Look up
0 and 1.
disclosure day tonight.
The all
Yeah.
seeing eye.
Watch it.
Yeah.
Watch the new video.
So for those at home, there it is.
Yeah,
Does that look like an all-seeing eye to you?
It's
Oh,
With digital numbers? What's it saying? Digital
ID.
ID. Digital observation.
Biometrics, that's saying. Biometrics.
Well, they're adding biometrics to it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the retina scan and all that stuff.
So you won't be able to get into hospitals, talk
Nothing, mate.
No.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Even your
Not
house.
unless you comply.
Do you reckon everyone's going to comply?
No.
No. How many people took the jab because their livelihood was threatened?
Lots of.
You've got a family to feed,
Yeah, so many people do that.
Compromise.
But then there's that.
What
This
do-
one's going to be worse than that.
What does compromise represent? No faith.
Yeah.
Can I just share something very interesting?
Yeah.
I'll just give you the short story. It's this lovely wife of mine, she wanted to borrow money. This is before COVID. And, let's get this house, we can get this place in Tasmania and do it up. And then I said, no, we had to borrow money. And there was something in me that said, no, we're not borrowing money. If we can't buy it, I'm not having it.
Yeah.
Get yourself another man, basically. Well, I'm not doing it. And I just think that's such a blessing from God that I stuck to my
Yeah.
guns by saying I don't want to borrow money. We've done well, and we own everything we've got. And I think that's
Amazing.
Yeah.
right.
That's amazing.
It's the way it should be.
And I couldn't, no one would, I mean, she had the plan, the idea, it would all work, everything would have worked except I had to sign a mortgage.
Mm.
And I said, no, I'm not
Signed it
signing
off.
it. We even had the thing drawn up. You know, I went and inspected the property, got a plane, went to Tasmania, inspected the property, saw the banker, right down to signing it, and this thing just kept saying, don't do it, don't do it.
Yeah. Don't do it.
It's a
That's right.
trap, isn't it?
Oh, once you sign the mortgage, you've got to go to work.
Well, you're the slave to
Yeah.
who's lending you the money. That's
Yeah,
what it
and I've
said.
already done that one.
That's
I'm
right.
not doing it again.
Okay, I've got another vision, another image here for you. This system we'll see in a couple of weeks' time is called Babylon. Right? The Parliament building for the EU
Mm.
in Strasbourg in France is designed after a painting that was painted back in 1560,
Tower of Babel.
the Tower of Babel.
Mm.
So there's two images.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can see where he gets the idea from.
Yeah. I
There's
haven't
the
seen that
painting
first
on
one,
that
though.
side.
Yeah, the EI goes.
So the Parliament building in Strasbourg, France is like a replica look.
And what have they got outside the, is it the EU, whatever?
All the flags.
Woman riding a beast?
On the,
They know the Bible, mate.
yeah,
The woman
Yeah,
riding a,
Satan
like a
knows
cat,
Satan
like
knows the
a
Bible.
there's the
Knows
image
every bit of it.
side of the, I don't know, I can't remember.
of the two, whoops. So there's painting on the other side, that side.
You actually know the better than most Christians.
Alright?
And those are better than most Christians.
Yeah, well, I mean, people that I know from the other
All right.
churches don't talk about
You were going to share what's happening in Australia.
Oh, in Australia, since Australia implemented the digital laws,
You mean to screenshot?
there's 50. You right, Doko? There's over 15 million digital IDs have already been given out in Australia.
in Australia.
15 million.
15 million
That's half
as of
Australia.
late last year.
Yeah.
More now.
That's voluntary.
And over, I think it's 80 million transactions have taken part through those digital ID wallets.
It gets me that people have
So when it becomes go on.
Being
Yeah, when it becomes mandatory, it'll only be the minority that haven't done it. So it'll be all the people as well against those ones that haven't done it, like in COVID.
So no one, how do they know to do that? I mean, because no one's asked me to have a digital ID.
Not yet,
Not yet.
Little budget.
because it's only voluntary and it's only in its early stages.
Oh, yeah.
But can I just say, don't forget that there's the big call to come out of Babylon. So it's not like, okay, everyone's might be asleep now, or a lot of people are asleep now. It doesn't mean they're going to stay asleep.
No.
So there is that call.
And it is going to ramp up. And the rhetoric that will take place is if you don't take this, you're acting contrary to the best interests of the body.
Yeah,
You'll be seen as an enemy, holding things
of
up.
the government,
same dialogue.
not trusting the
Yeah.
government.
Yeah. And that's where you have to make a decision prior to, am I going to make a stand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's my line in the sand, thus far and no further. The three worthy boys on the plain of Dura before Nebuchadnezzar's statue, where were they? Were they at home protesting? No.
No.
They were out on the grass, in the plain before the 90-foot statue of gold. So they didn't complain up to that point. It was only when they were told they had to, what? Bow down and worship it.
They drew a line.
They drew a line and said, oh, I'm not going to bow
Not going
down.
that far.
So we can take it as far as we think we can take it, up to the point where we're told we have to bow down and worship. Because when we're told to bow down and worship, who are we worshipping? That image or the spirit behind that image?
Yeah.
Or the serpent
But are
behind?
we going to know definitely they're going to say bow down, or is it going to be something?
You're relying on that system for peace and safety.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be pretty plain to anyone who's got ears to hear and eyes to see
Yeah.
that this is the time.
I'm a bit worried. I'm a bit dense.
I think there'll be two camps then, mate. I think
And you've only got one eye.
That's it.
it.
That's not even a good one.
I'm going to start asking people if they got their digital ID.
Okay, let's just close it up so everyone can
We can chat on.
chat on later. Father in heaven, we are so thankful for the information you've given to us before it comes to pass, so that we can see it, appreciate it, believe it, put our faith in you and trust in you, and be willing to draw a line in the sand where we will go no further. Give us courage and strength through the indwelling of your Spirit, and may we look to Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, and be guided by him. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.